In the first lesson about reported speech, we focus mainly on the structure or syntax of the reported clause. In this second lesson, the focus will be on the tense of the verb in the reported clause. In particular, we will discuss the tense change known as backshift. Let's first reintroduce the participants from the first lesson. This will make it easier to see the changes between direct speech and reported speech. So, here are Hugo, who is the originator of the information, Sumin, who is the reporter of the information, and Ahmed, the recipient of the reported information. The red face indicates the speaker in the two conversations. As a reminder, reported speech has two clauses. The red clause here is called the reporting clause, and its verb the reporting verb. The blue clause is the reported clause, and its verb the reported verb. Basically, the reporter, Sumin in this lesson, can choose to use the present or past tense of the reporting verb when passing Hugo's words on to Ahmed. If she has spoken with Hugo shortly before reporting to Ahmed, she can use the present tense verb in the reporting clause. Here are some examples. If Sumin uses the present tense for the reporting verb, then she does not need to change the tense that Hugo used when speaking to her. For example, Hugo's words were, "I have nothing planned for the weekend," and Sumin reports this as, "Hugo says he has nothing planned for the weekend." Of course, the verb form in the reported clause needs to change from I have to he has, but the verb tense does not change. Here are several more examples of reported speech in which the reporting verb is in the present tense and the tense of the originator's words does not change. Now let's imagine that Hugo met Sumin in town last week, and today Sumin reports on Hugo's words to Ahmed. In this case, it is likely that Sumin would use the past tense of the reporting verb: said, told me, asked, thought, etc. This is the natural tense to use when relating a past conversation or the written words of the originator. Okay, look at Hugo's words on the left and note how Sumin reports them with a past tense reporting verb on the right. In each case, Hugo's present tense has been turned by Sumin into a past tense when she reports to Ahmed. This is what is meant by backshift, also called the sequence of tenses. In other words, putting the tense back in time. We can summarize the backshift rule as follows. When the reporting verb is in the past tense, the verb in the original direct speech needs to be shifted back in tense, from present simple to the past simple, and from past simple to the past perfect. Here are some more reported statements that follow the backshift rule. Here are reported questions that follow the backshift rule. Note that the backshift rule does not apply to reported commands, as there is no finite verb in the reported clause. Here are examples. Quiz page. Pause the video if you want to review the questions and answers before continuing. But what about things Hugo said that are still true when Sumin reports them to Ahmed? For example, it is still true that Hugo goes into town every week to visit the library. Here are some more sentences Hugo said to Sumin a week earlier, which Sumin knows are still true when she speaks to Ahmed. It might seem strange, but even though it is still true, for example, that Hugo's sister is 18 and his father likes heavy metal music, the past tense is commonly used after a past tense reporting verb. See the examples on the right. The reporter's focus is on the past conversation. This determines the past tense of the reported verb. Here are more examples of backshift in various tenses and modals. Note that there is no tense further back than the past perfect. So in the last example, the past perfect in the originator's words is repeated in the past perfect in the reported speech. The first example from the previous slide is worth noting. Sumin's backshift of "my sister has 9 cats" to "he said that his sister had 9 cats" expresses her doubt about the reliability of Hugo's statement. The second sentence here shows how Sumin backshifts to express a similar doubt, or maybe in the meantime she has established that Hugo is wrong. Most native speakers have never heard the term backshift, and they almost certainly haven't learned the rule in school. In fact, there are 3 common contexts in which they break the backshift rule. The first breaking of the rule is in cases when the reporter knows or thinks the originator's words are still true or always true. See these sentences from previous slides. The second breaking of the rule is when the reporter does not backshift from the past simple to the past perfect. As a reminder, the backshift rule turns Hugo's words, "I saw Mary in town yesterday," into "Hugo said that he had seen Mary in town the day before." This particular example of backshift to the past perfect is fine, but native speakers tend to avoid using the past perfect unless they have a good reason to do so. And if Sumin is reporting to Ahmed on the same day that she spoke to Hugo, then it is quite natural not to backshift to the past perfect. i.e., Sumin reports as, "Hugo said he saw Mary in town yesterday." Here are some more examples of where keeping the past simple is the better choice than backshifting. Note that making the right tense choice in this context requires a general understanding of the past perfect and when it is commonly used. This is beyond the scope of this lesson. The third common breaking of the backshift rule is when backshifting would result in an ambiguous report. For example, Hugo asked Sumin yesterday, "Who is the president of Korea?" If Sumin backshifts Hugo's present tense to the past tense, he asked who the president of Korea was, Ahmed will not know if Hugo was asking about the current president or a previous one. Of course, in conversation, Ahmed could ask for clarification, but in cases such as this, it is neither necessary nor better that the reporter backshifts. Here are 2 more examples of ambiguous backshifting, where it is better for the reporter to retain the tense of the originator's words. Quiz page. Pause the video if you want to review the questions and answers before continuing. My advice on backshift is as follows. Firstly, backshift unless you have a good reason not to do so. Backshift is very common and natural when the reporting verb is in the past tense, especially in written reporting, and when the backshift is from the present tense to the past tense. This advice is based on the general principle that the tense in the main clause, in this case the reporting clause, strongly influences the tense in the subordinate clause, here the reported clause. This principle is called the sequence of tenses, which you can research for further examples. Most importantly for some English learners, backshift is often expected in grammar exercises and tests of reported speech. If you don't know how to backshift, you will not score well or pass the test. You may want to find out if your teacher or the test you are taking does indeed expect backshift. The second piece of advice is to consider using a present tense reporting verb. This is often possible even when you are reporting what you heard some time ago. The consequence is that you can report the originator's words without changing the tense he or she used. These sentences from earlier slides are acceptable with the reporting verb in the present tense. But be careful. A present tense reporting verb is fine if you think that the originator's words are still true or that the originator would say the same thing again. So clearly, a present tense reporting verb is not acceptable when reporting on an event with a time expression, as in these examples. The third piece of advice is to be aware that native speakers very often change the originator's words and add their own interpretations. They really repeat the originator's words as accurately as possible, as in the simple pedagogic examples in this lesson. You are advised therefore to learn the common verbs that report what you have heard and read. Here are some examples with the interpretative reporting verbs highlighted. Note that reported speech can be significantly different from the original words. Note also that these reporting verbs have their own grammar that needs to be learned in each case. The last piece of advice is to consult a good grammar book for English learners, such as shown here. You could then ask specific questions about reported speech usage on a Q&A site such as English Language Learners. And finally, you can be alert to how native speakers report what they hear and read in everyday contexts. In the long run, this is the best way to learn. Okay, we've come to the end of this lesson on Backshift in reported speech. Here is the important information in summary. In the description below this video, you will find a link to the lesson index page shown on the left. As you can see, there are 4 ways to access the content, as well as a glossary and links to quizzes and more information on the topic.